All right, guys, what's going on? I am live again. I am at home and checking through the different videos. I had noticed that a couple individuals had asked me to do a presentation. So um, I do my presentations a little bit different than I know a lot of agents do. The very first thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is being warm. You know, you want to make sure that you are connecting with the client. So whenever I go to the door and I door knock, you know, I have my lead in front of me, and I'm smiling. I'm always smiling, like always smiling. And I'm like, hey, I'm here to go over this information that you requested. And I'm shifted. I'm turned to the side. So I have my clipboard. The lead will be on top of the clipboard, and I'm just pointing to the lead so that they can see it. Their handwriting, the whole nine. And I say, you know, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes. Where can we sit? When I first get into the door, I'm just, you know, if the client is limping, the first thing I'm saying is, you know, well, hey, what's going on? What's wrong with your leg? You know, I see you're limping. Is you always had a limp? You know, or hey, how you doing today? How you feeling? So I always want to make sure that I am connecting with the person. Now, you know, a lot of individuals will try to connect to pictures on the wall or, you know, items outside. They want to try to connect with something where they can have a common ground. And I love people. So I'm always going to connect to the person. So the very first thing that I will always say is, you know, how are you doing today? What's going on? How you feeling? Right? So I get the individual to start talking about themselves. And I'm constantly listening. You want to be actively listening to the individual that you're about to deal with. So once we get in, I'm one that I look at, you know, if it looks like they were just sitting in their lounge chair with their cup of coffee, guess what? I'm going to tell that client, listen, go ahead and sit right there. It looks like you were just sitting there with your cup of coffee. I want you to be comfortable. I come in with a clipboard, a little small presentation binder. That's it. I can fit anywhere. I don't need to sit down. I can do my presentation standing up. It's that simple. Tell them to have, you know, I'm in control. Go ahead and sit back down where you were. I'm going to sit right here, real easy. If there's a TV on that's real loud or the music, I do ask the individual, you know, listen, you know, can we go ahead and turn that off or turn it down, because I need to make sure that I'm able to connect with you. I want you to be able to listen to me because I only have a short period of time with you today, and I want to make sure that you understand what we're going over. Real simple. They either turn it off or I get up and get the remote and I turn it off myself. So I do have a money sheet that I created that has several questions on that money sheet, and it allows me to be able to connect with the individual, bring them into the presentation so that we're having a conversation and it's not just me talking all the time, right? So I tell them, okay, listen, like I said at the door, this is going to be very quick. I need to ask you a few questions to see if I can get you qualified for one of my programs. Then all I'm going to do is talk about one of those programs, answer any questions that you have, and I'm out of your hair. All right? Because I'm up here to see about 20 people in the next 2 days. I'm not going to waste any of your time. And when I say that, it's letting them know that I'm not going to sit here and talk about your grandkids. You know, I'm not going to be in here for 2 hours. I'm here to handle business. I'm going to love on you, and I'm on to the next. So I go ahead, I pull out my sheet, and I go through the questions. Very first question. When you filled this form out, was this information for you or you and somebody else? They're going to let me know right there. Oh, well, you know what? It's just for me. Okay, great. I'm looking to see if they have a ring on. If they have a ring, oh, okay. It's just for you. Oh, well, are you married? Because I will not sit down and do a presentation with one of the spouses. That's called a one-legger. Many agents will do it. I will not. I am not going to sit here with you for 45 minutes for you to tell me at the end of the presentation, I need to talk to my husband. because the only thing that you're going to show your husband or your wife is the price and the coverage. You're not going to be able to talk about the whole sizzle, everything that goes with this whole benefit. So I won't do it. Again, some will, and that's fine. Do what you want to do. I will not. Very first question that I'm going to ask is did you fill this information out for you or somebody else? If it's just you and I notice a ring, are you married? Yes? Okay. When is your spouse going to be home? Great. I'm going to pull up my sheet. I will be back around when your husband is home, when your wife is home. That way we can go over the information together. If he or she has any other questions, I'll be able to answer everything at the same time, or we can make a sound decision today. My goal is always to make a decision today. All right. So it's just that individual. Awesome. Well, listen, when you filled in this information, you stated that you were 65 years old. Are you still 65? Yes. Okay, great. When is your birthday? And I'm writing it down. Again, I have a sheet that I can write everything down. Okay, now I have your birthday. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple medical questions. In the last 12 months, have you used any form of tobacco? Yes or no? All right. Now, in the last 2 years, have you been diagnosed, treated, or taken any medication for any of the following? And then I'm going to go through my list. Again, it's on my money sheet. HIV or AIDS, heart attack or stroke, any circulation issues, COPD, emphysema, liver disease, kidney disease, diabetes, any amputations, any coma, Alzheimer's, dementia, any alcohol or drug abuse that you were in a facility in the last 2 years. These are the things I'm going to ask. If they say yes to any of those things, that is going to be a modified plan. So I know this before I start talking. All right. So I asked that up front. Now I'm done. And I say, okay, great. Now, have you thought about how you want it to be handled? What are we looking at? Cremation or burial? Now notice when I said, what are we dealing with? What are we, right? I'm assuming we are working together. What are we dealing with? Cremation or burial? They tell me, oh, I was thinking about cremation, because it's cheaper, blah, 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 blah. We're listening, but we're fine. We're going to circle cremation. Okay, well, some individuals with the cremation are still wanting to do a family viewing or a public viewing, and even some people still want to be buried with a cremation. Have you thought about that? Wait for the answer. You're going to write that down. The reason you want to know exactly what that client wants, that's going to help you to determine how much you need to give them a quote for. Right? We need to know. So I'm writing that down. Okay, awesome. Now I'm going to ask them, who is going to be the loved one that is going to take care of your final arrangements when that day comes? Write it down. Awesome. Do you have any other life insurance set up that we are going to be working with? Now, right here, I'm separating myself away from their other companies. Do you have any other life insurance that we are going to be working with? Final expense is not life insurance. You need to make it clear that it is different, because we are. Do you have any other life insurance that we're going to be working with? Okay, great. Oh, yeah, I have, MetLife, so, whatever. You're going to write it down. Is it whole life or term? All of these questions are very important because you need to know what you're dealing with. You need to know if this client has a term policy. Okay, so when is the term date? Do you know what it's going to increase to? Are you going to be able to afford that new amount? Do I need to give you a higher rate for whole life because you're not going to be able to maintain this term policy? These are things that are very important for the client as well as yourself. So you need to ask those questions. If the client does not know if it's whole life or term, another reason why you're there, to educate your client. That builds trust, and they're going to want to do business with you because now you built that trust, right? Our job is not to go into a home and cancel out policies that they already have that are active. Our job is to fill the gap. Give them what they need. Find the need and fill it, right? Okay. So if they don't know if it's term or whole life, that's where your education comes in. Okay. So you ask a couple questions. All right. So you don't know if it's term or whole life. So, okay. How long have you had the policy? Oh, I've had it for 15 years. Have you ever had any increases in your payments? No, not really. Okay, great. Do you know if it builds a cash value? Well, no, it doesn't build a cash value. Okay. Do you know where your policy is? At this point, because if they've had it for about 10 years and it did not increase in value or premium and it does not build a cash value, you may want to see it because it could be a 20-year term level premium insurance, 30-year term, right? You want to make sure what you're dealing with. Most policies that are term, most companies give them a 5-year term. After every 5 years, the premium will increase. Does not build a cash value. You know it's going to be a term policy. But every now and then you'll get something a little bit different. So you want to make sure the type of policy you're dealing with before you start talking about, oh, you have XYZ. Don't mess up thinking you know everything and you don't, okay? It's a bad look. And you will lose all type of trust, all right? So again, a lot of times when you get into asking these certain questions, the client will get up and go get their policy because they're like, you know what, I really don't know what I have. And it is important for them to know. It is also important for you to know, all right? So now we know. Okay, so they have a whole life policy. Good job. I love to give my clients a high five. High five. Miss Betty, I'm so proud of you for thinking about your loved ones and making sure you got the best policy ever. Whole life is the best policy that you can get. I am so glad that you have this benefit. Do you realize life insurance is based on your age and your health when you get it? So that policy, you've gotten it several years ago, that policy, you'll never get another whole life benefit at that price. Don't you ever miss a payment, okay? Good job. You got to make them feel good. And honestly, that's a great deal. They got whole life. That's good. They need whole life. All right, great. Now we're going back into what we're here for. Awesome. You know you have whole life. We're going to be working with that company. We know the beneficiary. We know if they're final expense, which means a day one benefit, or if they're modified, which means a 2-year pay-in period. With Lincoln Heritage, it is first year if they die, forward term of premium plus 10% interest. Second year, forward term of premium, 20% interest. But the family support services day one. And with Lincoln Heritage, if in fact the client dies of an accident within their first or second year, even if they're modified, that makes it a day one benefit because they did not die of the health condition. So that's a plus, all right? And we never know how an individual is going to die. All right, so moving on. So now I'm back to my sheet. I have my beneficiary. I know that they are going to be cremated. I know that they have a whole life benefit. I know everything. I know their age, all that good stuff. They're single. Great. So now I'm going into Lincoln Heritage. So Lincoln Heritage has been in existence for a little over 60 years. We specialize with individuals between the ages of 40 and 85. However, we do have family plans to cover individuals between the ages of 30 days up to age 85. So while I'm going through this information, if you think of anybody else that you know or any loved ones that could benefit from the program, feel free to let me know at the end, okay? And I'll make sure that I can take care of them. That's setting you up for your referrals, all right? Okay, great. So this individual is a day one plan. Listen, unlike most life insurance companies that can provide $50,000, $100,000, or even $1 million worth of coverage, we are here to make sure that we have enough benefit to take care of your final expenses, maybe a little bit left over to take care of any additional bills, all right? We are not here to make anybody rich, okay? All right, great. And I asked them, were you trying to make somebody rich? And most of my seniors say, no, I just want to take care of these bills. I'm like, okay, great. I high five them again because that's what I'm here for, to take care of your final expenses. Awesome. We can move forward. Now, listen, when you die, because none of us can get out of here alive, your loved one is going to give us a call. And what we're going to do is we are going to either wire the benefit to their bank account or send them a check. And that's within 24 hours of proof of death. All right. Now, most life insurance companies are going to take anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 months to pay out because they have claim paperwork. We do not. We check you on the front end so that when you die, we can go ahead and pay you out. All right. We've already made sure that you qualified. Thank God that we changed that system within the last couple of years. So it makes the system more efficient. Now, you're going to get 2 forms that come in the mail because we work with another company that is the Funeral Consumer Guardian Society. And who they are they are a group of former funeral directors that formed a company, and they're going to guard your loved one against the funeral homes, because most funeral homes, they're really preying on the loved one's emotions. And there's a saying out there that the more that the loved one cries, the more they buy. Right? Individual has, they feel guilty, whatever the case might be. They're like, oh my God, they just had an argument with you and here you died, and they feel bad. And they think that they got to have this big, huge funeral, all these flowers, praying hands, the doves, the whole nine. And now a funeral that should have cost $7,000 is now $15,000. And you know that you wanted this money to go make sure your final expenses were taken care of, but to make sure that there was some money left over for your loved ones, because you know that there's going to be other things that come up. Our job is to make sure that your final wishes are taken care of at the least cost possible, right? Period. We're not emotional when we're making the phone calls. We understand the business, but it's your job to make sure you let us know what you want done. You tell us what funeral home you want to deal with if you care. What cemetery if you care. If you don't care, great. We're going to make phone calls, and we're going to let your beneficiary know the cost that we received, and they're going to pick which one they want. All right? Again, it's completely up to you. Our job is to make sure that your loved one does not have to deal with the financial stress of the funeral home, period. And then I do tell them my own personal experience. My sister died 4 years ago. She died in her sleep, you know what I mean? And it was something that was not expected at all. I had been with the company for 2 years, and I went blank. I got the phone call from my mother, and I lost it. I know everything to do with any client, but I lost it. I completely lost it for about 5 to 10 minutes easy. And then I got it together, and I was like, wait a minute, and I was like, to my mother, did you call my dad? Who did you call? So forth and so on. And I was able to stop my father before he actually made any final arrangements at the funeral home, and we called Lincoln. And they were able to save the family $3,600 on our arrangements, right? So I've lived it. I have clients that have passed on, and Lincoln has been able to save the family money and made sure that everything was exactly how they wanted it to be done, and paid them so fast. I've been here, right? So it's not just I work for the company. I lived it. So that's why I'm so much more passionate. And it's not just because I was a client and it was a family member. I have clients that I have witnessed and worked through their benefit as well. So with that, it's amazing. I thought that when it happened, or anybody in my family, I was going to be ready to go. I've been trained. I've been here for years. I know what to do. I know what to say. I know who to call, all that. But no, I froze. And when I think back to that and I talk to my clients, I help them to realize none of us know how we are going to respond when that time comes because we have not been there. That's why it's important to have a mediator. That's why it's important to have this benefit. Even if you have all the life insurance you need, the minimum benefit within Lincoln Heritage to get that family support service is worth so much more. Because they do that part. They make sure that we're not taken advantage of. They make sure that everything is the way that it's supposed to be and we're charged what we're supposed to be charged. So I go through my story with the clients and I let them understand how that part worked. My sister did have other life insurance. She died January 15th, 2014. Her other insurance through her job did not pay out until the middle of May. So it was like 5.5 months, about 5 months total before her other policy paid out. And it was less than what the policy was worth because it went through the whole estate process. She owed, taxes. She had school loans, things of that nature. So they took all the money that was due to the government and, the rest was paid out. So nonetheless, it took months. Lincoln was within that same week. I want to say it was 3 days later. 3 days later. So I lived it. I understand how it works. I do not care what other policies a person has. It doesn't matter. If they do not have Lincoln and the family support services, they're not protected. Sure, they can have 100,000 whole life. They can have university. They can have annuities. They could have all that money. And that is great. Trust me. I have my pension. I have money sitting in an annuity. I have an IRA. Trust me, I have all that. I have a regular life insurance policy as well. But I definitely have Lincoln. Why? Because when the time comes, I do not want my family wasting any additional money because they don't understand the process. So for me, it's worth me paying for a final expense policy to protect the rest of my money because that money I want for my family when I go, period. I do not want that money going to a funeral home. I just don't. So that's why I explain my story. I talk about that. When I'm done talking about that, I ask them, do they have any questions, right? I show them a 3-minute video. We do have a 3-minute video of the Funeral Consumer Guardian Society that's on our iPad. It's also on YouTube. You can Google it. Again, it's Funeral Consumer Guardian Society. There's a 3-minute video and a 10-minute video. The 10-minute video is like halfway through, like 6 minutes in. We show the second half of that video. It's the presentation part. And then while the client is watching that, I'm doing the rates. When they get done, I say, okay, based on the information that you have discussed with me, you want to be cremated, you want to have a viewing, you definitely want to have a going away party, I will do my rates, right? So if their final expense, I'm going to show them $25,000, $20,000, and $15,000. All right. I'm showing them those 3 rates: good, better, and best. Again, cremation is nowhere near that amount. However, I don't know if they're going to die next year or in 10 years. So 25, 20, 15. I write down the dollar amounts. I go over the accidental. I do add the 4 units of accidental in there, which is up to 80,000 accidental. I explain all the accidental. Then I go down to the dollar amount. I turn the paper around to them and I say, okay, in the event that you were to die of any natural causes, $25,000 for you is going to be $115. $20,000, $110. $15,000, $98. Do any of these amounts make sense to you? Now, remember, I can go higher, I can go in between, and I can go lower. Does any of these three make sense to you? And I shut up. And I watch the client while they look at the money sheet. I will not say anything until they say something. If they don't pick one of the three and they say, oh, you know what? I really need to think about it. That means the price is too high. Okay? So I take the paper and I say, okay. Normally when somebody tells me that they need to think about it, the three prices that are down here are a little bit out of your range. Let me show you something different. And again, these prices are more than what you would need for what you want right now. However, I wanted to show you the three good, better, and best based on if you were to live another 10 to 15 years, because the prices were always increasing. Let me show you a little bit less. I will show two more lower. And while I'm putting down my additional two quotes, I'm going to say, did you have another amount in mind that is more comfortable? A lot of times they say, oh, I don't really know. They know, but they'll say, oh, I'm not sure. So go ahead and write your two more quotes. So now I'm down to 12 because I did the 15 as the last one. 12, 10, and 8, right? Usually right there, I'm going to get them. Oh, you know what? Oh, yeah, this one's more comfortable. Okay, great. Done. All I need you to do is go get your photo ID, because I always like to check their ID. Get your medication list, because I'm old school. I want to check those meds. And your first check, and I'm going to get your information set up. Now, if it's the end of the month, the last week, I'm doing paper applications because I want my production account for this month. If it's first week to the third week, I'm doing my iPad because we can do our apps on the computer. All right. So it's just a matter of what I want to count for this month. So go ahead and get that stuff done while they're getting their paperwork together. Now, say after I gave them the last two quotes, they were like, I still need to think about it. Oh, I need to talk to my son. I need to talk to my daughter. Okay. Now we need to dig in. Right? Okay. So if they come with the objection, I need to talk to my son or daughter or what have you. Oh, I'm sorry. Are they the ones paying for your insurance? You need to ask that question, because maybe we missed that in the beginning, right? Oh, no, they're not paying, but I like to go over everything with my kids. That is a smokescreen. That's BS. That's BS. Okay. Okay. You know what? No problem. Our program is set up for you to go over this information with your family. But what we need you to do is to pick an amount that is comfortable for you to afford monthly. So if you're telling me that you need to talk to somebody, these amounts are not comfortable. Please help me help you. What amount will be comfortable for you to make sure that you have some coverage for your family? Because some cash is better than none at all. Right? You have to say that. They will tell you, you know what? Because sometimes they're just embarrassed. They're just embarrassed to tell you that $50 is too much. You know, they're on a fixed income. Their cigarettes are more of a priority than their life insurance, whatever. Their cable, and you know, whatever. It's their prerogative. Our job is to make sure that we have some coverage for that family because they are going to need it. And that's our job, to protect them. So some cash is better than none at all. What's going to be better? What's best for us to start? You can increase it later. Time down. If they tell you, oh, well, you know what? Oh, no, the prices, they're good. The coverage is good. Everything's great. You know, I just need to think it over. Okay. There's like 4 reasons why a client is going to tell you that. 1, they have more questions. Okay. And I said, okay, listen, I sit back. Anybody that tells me that they need to think about it is one of like 4 reasons. So 1, you have more questions. That's why I'm here. What other questions do you have? How can I help you? Help me help you. What other questions do you have? Oh no, everything was perfect, da 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 da, blah blah. Okay, great. 2, it's the price. Where do I need to take this so that it's comfortable for you to get started because your family is at need? Oh no, the price is wonderful. Okay. 3rd reason. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think you needed to pay today? Most of my clients get paid on the 1st, the 3rd Wednesday, or the 4th Thursday. Which one is it for you? A lot of times I'll catch them right there. And I'll say, you know what? I get paid on the 3rd. No problem. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we get this started for you on the 3rd, okay? Go get your photo ID, medication list, and your check. Hand is down and I'm filling out my stuff. Or I'm keying in my iPad. If even at the third step, they're on some, oh no, that's not the issue. Then I say it must be me. Because everybody gets this benefit. Everybody. So who do I need to get here to help you protect your family? I have no problem saying that in a home. None. Every blue moon, there is somebody that is prejudiced and they would prefer a different type of agent. And I'll say, would you like a male or a female? What would be the best day? I will make sure that Lincoln gets somebody out here to take care of you. And granted, thank God I have an agency. I split it with somebody else and it all works out. And sometimes they're just crazy. You cannot help crazy, right? Broke and crazy. Some are, they really, their priorities are just not in order. Because I won't say anybody's really broke, because individuals in the last 5.5 years that I've helped or not helped, that stated that they don't have the money, they're smoking cigarettes, and I know that they're $7 a pack. They're watching cable, which is between $100 to $300 a month. They have a cell phone, right? So it's just a matter of priorities, and that's okay. To each its own. I will mark them off. I tell them, do not call the company anymore. Please do not fill out any more forms, because we spend a lot of money to come out and help individuals who are serious. One agent is not going to tell you a price different than the other. So when you're ready, pull this flyer out of your pizza drawer and call me. And I'll be more than happy to come back and help you. And that's it. That's it, Our job really is talking to the client, being personable, listening to them, and trying to help them where they need help. I never really look at this as sales. Even though we get paid, it's a sales job. We're selling insurance. I'm not in a house trying to sell a person a $35,000 policy that only needs 5. We do ask the questions to see what they need, and we try to fill the need. And in that, we get paid a lot of money. We get paid residuals because those individuals keep paying because they know they need it and they weren't sold. And that is what's most important. So hopefully you guys have gained some information from this clip. In the next week, I do have a client set up. I asked them if I could record a live presentation at their home. I was supposed to do it this weekend, but they ended up getting sick, and I am a germ phobe. I was not going in the home. I just don't want it. So I let her know that, I appreciated her stating that she was still going to let me in, but I didn't. I don't want it. I don't want to be sick for a week for nobody. So whenever she's better, hopefully within the next week, I will get that video up. And I did tell her I would give her $25. I'm going to just be honest. I said, listen, I need to train and do a video for training, and I will pay you for it. And she was okay with that. But she's a lead as well. But she's sick, and I'm not going there, period. So I can see other people that are healthy, and I'll see her when she gets better. But guys, have a wonderful evening, and ladies, have a wonderful evening. I will try to post more often. This year is going to be a crazy, amazing year. Oh my God, there's like so much going on this year. And as I get my days together, I will post more. But I've been running and training and building and loving on my family. And I'll make sure to make time for you guys as well. So continue to post your positive and your negatives. It doesn't matter. I'll respond to both. It's all good. Everybody's opinion is welcome. But enjoy your life, most importantly, and keep it moving because life is short. Tomorrow's not promised to anybody. So keep pushing and do the best that you can. I'm out.